Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we're back with My Hero Academia manga edition. If you're unfamiliar, this is the Amateur Otaku podcast. We're talking all things My Hero Academia's manga. If you are not caught up with the latest chapter of My Hero Academia, this is your spoiler warning. We're discussing chapter 331, and the title is United States of America. Joining me, as always, are my great friends, the Mad Doc himself, Isaac Wolf, and my good friend from Geekly Goods, Leo Rydel. Guys, we've been witnessing the Star&Stripe battle with Shigaraki for, I would say, three chapters now. Leo, Isaac and I discussed it last week. You weren't here with us. What are your thoughts on the turn of events and the kind of ups and downs of this battle with Star&Stripe and all for Shiggy is what we're calling him now, since he doesn't know who he is.
For real. I'm liking the identity crisis that's going on here, not knowing who the hell he is, and really just allowing us and the readers and himself to discover what exactly is going on. Because I think we've been discussing this before we got back to Shigaraki, and I recall us talking about, like, where is he at? What's going on with him? And the process not being done during the war arc. Well, now that the process is done, we've got this new character, this Shigaraki, one for Shigaraki here, who's just kind of existing off of a plane of existence that he doesn't know, and neither does Star. So it's crazy that that's the way that it's like getting around her quirk, because she has to know the identity of that person, which I thought was such a needle in the haystack type of weakness. Like what a just a pinpoint weakness that he got into her. But I do love Star&Stripes' quirk. Very overpowered. I fair to say this might be the most powerful quirk we've seen, period.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
it's crazy because we were talking about last week that she's by far the most powerful character we've seen, and it is laughable that Endeavor is the number one hero in Japan when you have people like Star&Stripe.
Like Star, who could basically say, okay, look at somebody, assign a rule to them, and that is now applied to their being. Like, what? Like, it's just crazy. What an ability. And I think it's cool that there are other number one heroes in other countries, and maybe we'll see like other countries like Brazil or something else. But I like that. I like the concept of other hero rankings outside of Japan, and I just think, wow, what a character. I'm nervous we're gonna see her go kind of early here. I really hope not. Because
for what it's worth, she's lasted longer than I thought already. So she's got
I'm just like, man, what a quirk. But you know, that's gonna have to get wiped. And if Shigaraki gets a hold of that, all of 1A and all the pro heroes gonna need to line up.
That's for certain.
It'd be game over. For sure.
Yeah.
It'd be game over.
Yeah. But only 2 rules at a time, so there's a limit.
Yeah, so for those guys who are following along with us, we're picking up where we left off. She's still fighting Tomura Shigaraki, Tenko Shimura, all for whatever this dude is going by. He has completely new identity, and it is crazy how, like you said, Leo, it's just a 1 in a billion chance that the person she's fighting is having an identity crisis right now. It's like this would be over, wiped off the board. Isaac and I have been talking about her quirk, and we know that if Shigaraki gets it, it's game over. We've said that at length. I want to throw this to you guys though, because I feel like her power is so strong that it can't go to Shigaraki. She's probably going to establish a rule on herself saying that her quirk can't be stolen, or if somebody steals my quirk, their heart stops. Kind of the same thing she did earlier. Do you think that might be her workaround? Because I don't see this fight ending, and she's going to get more and more desperate.
Yeah, I think if anything, she's going to like pull something like that. Like you can't absorb my quirk, or if I die, my quirk goes with me. Like some kind of way, because I mean, she's willing to really bend the rules, as we see at the end of this chapter, in order to protect them anyway. So I could see her just going to the length of something like, if I die, so my quirk dies with me. There's no transfer. Yeah, something like that, to where there's no way. Because I mean, with all he's got going for him now, I mean, he ate those laser shots like they weren't anything. So you give him the ability to look at someone and simply just alter their entire reality? No way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I don't know. Like I told Mike in our previous episode, I think it was the prior. Handling this wrong, and you can easily do a Stephen King. Honestly, which is the most concerning thing about this all, actually, in my book at least. Because if they get it will with how he is right now, and especially considering All for One is even to some extent, I would argue that he implied that he is scared of her. I mean, considering he wants that Kirk and all. If they get,
I mean,
he gets.
She's on our side, and I'm scared of her a little bit.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it would with how they have shown up that Kirk, it would feel right now it would feel kind of bullshit if Shigaraki would defeat her with how they have shown it off and all that gas. Whereas if Shigaraki gets the Kirk, it will just be game over on that regard. So the only thing that could happen and that would work is if she, for some reason, either dies but takes that Kirk with her, or he escapes and almost dying, and she decides to help Japan out for more. That's the only thing I can see that would logically make any sense. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get you. I do think it's interesting how her quirk is so crazy that we had like 3 pages dedicated to explaining how it works.
I would dare argue that if she survives, that could easily become the whole. We could see a Shippuden scenario that she becomes Ekko's new mentor. Honestly,
I have a quick tidbit that I thought was really interesting when Shigaraki, All for One, was talking about Star's quirk, and that it's one of the quirks that's being concealed by the government. It's just that powerful that the limitations, how it can be used and how it can be effective, is like secret. I want to know other ones. And I mean, at this point, they got to pretty much do that with Eri.
That's the thing, because
no, go ahead.
No, it's just like you were saying, Aries quirk. You were saying at the top of the show, Aries quirk is very similar. Like, imagine when she gets control of that thing. It's scary, dude.
Game over. Somebody can be wiped off the map in a second.
Right.
She just rewinds their entire age. Boom, you're back to a baby. Oh, they're dead.
Yeah, that's insane, honestly. And yeah, the idea that there are hidden quirks or hidden heroes or powers or villains out there keeps the world building kind of going. And it's like, we know we're at the end of My Hero Academia. Are we setting up spin-offs or sequels? Because how are you throwing all this brand new information at us this late in the game. Like Star&Stripe is more powerful than All Might, and we just now hearing of her. What does that say for the rest of the series or the Vigilantes manga that we're also covering? If you guys want to check that out. I just, like I was saying, they spent 3 pages talking about this quirk. I feel like that's the very reason why All for Shigaraki can't take it. Because you see how much he wants it. We spent a quarter of this chapter explaining it. I just feel like, narratively speaking, it doesn't make sense for him to take it. There might be a stipulation she puts on it where it takes her out of the game, like we've been saying. But I feel like this quirk will not exist by the end of this fight, but I don't know if she's going to be dead by the end of this fight. I'm just tired of fridging a lot of characters to make Deku and Shigaraki look super powerful.
You think she's going to be dead?
I'm hoping not, because I posted on Twitter that we've done this multiple times with Mirko and Lady Nagant. I don't want to do this a third time with Star, of having these really badass female characters show up, do a cool thing, get knocked out, and then just be out of the story. And I'm hoping that's not what happens. Maybe I'm being optimistic because, again, I feel like she's going to find a way to get out of this fight with Shigaraki. Even if he survives, I feel like she is smart enough and strong enough to get out of this situation. But again, Shigaraki can disintegrate you with a touch of his fingers. So,
I mean, and that's the thing is like Shigaraki's original quirk is deadly. Imagine, okay, so he can look at you and disintegrate you, or he can look at you and alter your reality. One of 3 choices for him because he has 2 with that, and then 1 with the crumbling quirk. Like, you mean to tell me he could just take out 3 people at once?
Yeah, like, remember when he fought Deku last year? Deku basically had to use float and use Black Whip to keep everybody off the ground because if you touch the ground, you're dead. But one thing that stood out to me is how OP this quirk is. The fist bump to the earth where this giant kaiju version of Star that's invisible, they can't even see her, just smacks Shigaraki into the dirt. Like, this panel is crazy, and that is just her using one rule, That's not even her using 2 rules. It's things like that are just like, okay, if Shigaraki gets this, it's game over. And I just don't think this quirk is going to survive. Maybe she gets hit with a trigger bullet. I don't know.
Either way, there just cannot be a way that this goes to Shigaraki. If so, I question how they're going to beat him. I mean, I guess it would be Deku with the combination of all the other quirks, because I don't know how you could beat a guy who literally alter reality. I just don't know.
It's worse than Madara. We thought Madara and Kaguya were overpowered at the end of Shippuden. This is 10 times that, man.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking of like anime in general, this is like, ooh, wow, a lot.
It's like, can Goku even beat that? Let's be real. It's close. A couple notes here.
Not even Ultra Instinct Goku would beat that. Let's be fair.
If he can get a hit in, that's the thing again. So I had a couple notes here, and this is just Star Wars references that popped up in this chapter. One of the pilots' name is Wedge. We had a commander, Agbar, and if you look at every speech bubble, the first letter, it spells out it's a trap. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Wasn't sure if you guys knew. Also, Giant Star is wielding a lightsaber.
Yep. New Order is the name of her quirk.
Yep. It's wild.
Yeah, lots of Star Wars references, that's for sure. And look, let's just be get down to brass tacks here, Horikoshi is a huge fan of American pop culture. Look at Deku. He's fucking Spider-Man.
You know,
he is.
It's true. I didn't expect to get 2 Spider-Man movies this year, but after watching World Heroes Mission and then getting No Way Home next month, it's crazy how we're getting so much Spider-Man love here. I'm just I don't know if this was in the Japanese translation of the manga, but I just find it so funny that if you take the letter from every one of Agbar's speech bubbles, it spells out it's a trap. And that is just hilarious to me. And it's just like, okay. The level of detail there was a bit much. I do have a gripe with this fight. We've been talking about how overpowered Star and Stripe is, and Shigaraki getting that quirk, how overpowered he would be. What is the point of this fight? Because it comes out of nowhere. We were just introduced to her, like you were saying, Leah. We were just introduced to her, like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and this fight has been dragging on ever since. Is there a purpose to this fight with Star and Stripe, or is she just being a jobber to make Shigaraki look cool because he hasn't been in the story for a few months? Like, I'm just trying to find the reason that this is happening, because it's dragging on for about a month now, and it's cool, but also, why? Why are we doing this, you know?
I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you said it was just kind of like a warm-up for Shigaraki. I think pairing him up with somebody who's like number 1 and like him blowing through her, like if let's just theoretically say next chapter this ends and he wins, whether he gets the quirk or not, he wins. He blows through it. That's a couple chapters to then see that this guy is powerful enough to take out number 1 heroes within a few minutes. All right, man, that's somebody definitely to be on the lookout for. I mean, like, that's your main villain right there.
That's the thing, though. We already did that when he took out all of the heroes in Japan, you know? And that, I guess that's why it's like, it feels like it's redundant. Unless there is a real purpose that shows up in the next chapter or two, it feels like a waste of time for a series that's already nearing its conclusion.
But that wasn't Shigaraki 100%. Like, that wasn't
that makes
full
it even
on
scarier.
Exactly. And I feel like if we see this and he's barely even stroking his palm, then like, okay, well, there you have it. This guy is like clearly barely has to lift a finger and is able to wipe people out, like the most powerful people on the planet.
Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I hope she is there to show off that Shigaraki can do some major damage, although he escapes, but and she ends up being Deku's new mentor, even though she don't have the one for all power, because she's. I mean, like you said before, this could easily be set up to sequels, and judging by her power levels, she would be a perfect new candidate to mentoring Deku. She's probably the only one that's on the good guy side that is strong enough to spar with him right now. Honestly.
See, I would be so down for that scenario if she could help him, especially if she could help him get comfortably to 100% and control it.
Yeah.
Because I think that if they pair her up with Deku, that's probably the best way he's going to be able to learn how to use 100%. Not foe, not powered by Fajin or anything else. Like just straight 100%. Like we've seen him take damage from. Like, no, like straight up 100% at all times. No limitations.
It'll also help him with that parallel processing that was mentioned before, because besides Shoto, Deku's the only character who has to juggle more than one ability. And Star is the same way. She has to be quick enough to change the rules, essentially, right? That she has established. So I see that they can relate on a similar level that way. because she can't really train him in the power of One for All, but she can change how he thinks about approaching the power in the same way Gran Torino did earlier in the series.
Yep.
Yeah, which is why I hope that it shows that he can handle, but he flees the fight, and then she noticed that they need to be more serious, and she decided to take up Deck as her apprentice after she's hearing that he's the new. He has her old mentors, the abilities, so to speak, and all that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, man, I just keep thinking about this. It's such a good matchup, and yeah, the two of them being able to relate on a level of sharing abilities. Because let's be real, guys, like we got to see Deku use 100% effortlessly. Like it's got to, like at least by the end of the series here. No bone breaking, no bruising. Like we got to see him get to 100% and be able to sustain and use 100%.
It reminds me of, it reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's like the point of that series was Aang learning how to use the different elements. By the time he does, that's when the show ends. And so I feel like Deku's in a similar boat where once he masters, or at least gets enough control of this power and all the other powers that come with it, the series is going to have to end, because who's going to be on his level? Unless new people show up like Star, Deku, it will be a god, essentially. Because All Might, without all the extra quirks, was unbeatable. Deku plus Fajin at 100% is 100.
For real. I mean, we saw what happened to Overhaul. 100%, he got wiped.
I'm surprised Overhaul even lived to tell the tale, honestly.
Right. How was he even still alive? I was like, bruh, like it looked like he beat the life out of him with those fists coming down from the air.
A million fists of death.
Yeah, like how was he not dead? Come on now.
Anime is gonna anime. That's what's like. Think about it. Nobody's died except for Night Eye, I think, if I can remember correctly.
And what's her name?
Midnight.
Oh, Midnight.
Yeah, Midnight.
Yeah. So we have 2 character deaths out of all of the crazy battles we've had. That's not that many. And we didn't even see her. That was off screen. She probably got stomped by Gigantomachia. That was awful, now that I think about it. It's a terrible way for her to go. But I don't have anything left in my notes for this fight. It's kind of hard to talk about these chapters with more and more battles, because they've been fighting for weeks now. So it's like the fight continues. Did you guys have anything else for this chapter specifically?
Yeah, let's just hope that she doesn't get fridged.
Yeah.
Hopefully she becomes Deku's Granny Tsunade.
I mean, that would be a good way to tie the series up, like get him a little more training and then he's ready. Like the Zuko, the last one, the last mentor.
Mm. Especially since she's still technically a descendant of All Mights, like Night Eye or even Gran Torino being All Might's master. It all kind of ties together, like you said.
Exactly.
For a second, you said descendant, and I was like, what is she, his daughter? Wait, hold on. We got to address the end of the chapter. What the heck was that?
The nukes?
Yeah, like...
We completely forgot.
They about to try to take out Japan?
That's what's crazy, because it's like we got the okay to do this. It's like, wait, we got the okay from Japan to nuke Japan. What the heck?
How should I put it? Shigaraki wants to destroy Japan anyway, so.
So take him down with Japan. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That's the only logic I can see.
just keep in mind that this chapter is titled United States of America, and we end with a bunch of nukes. I feel like Hori's trying to tell us something.
For real?
I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, you have a point there.
So I guess before we wrap this up, do you guys like? Obviously, it's not going to work. But what do you think the outcome is going to be with those nukes? Because we're not going to kill all for Shigaraki with some nukes. Let's be real.
I feel like he's going to take them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
one thing that concerns me about his quirk is do we even know all the quirks that All for One or Shigaraki has at this point?
Nope.
Does
he?
I wouldn't.
Probably not.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he legitimately absorbs them.
Yeah, like a vacuum or something, like Kirby just open his mouth up and no.
Or even like open up a warp gate like Kurogiri.
Or Sail.
Yeah. I mean, if Shigaraki survives that blast, I wouldn't be surprised if he can absorb them. Let's be real here at this point.
Speaking of absorbing, this is totally off topic, and I apologize. But wasn't the way that Cell from Dragon Ball Z took in people the weirdest method? He would like cover them with the hole made out of his tail and absorb them. That was the weirdest shit.
That was nightmare fuel. That's for certain.
Like you could come up with a way he could just like absorb them through their chi or some shit. No, he gotta swallow them up in his tail.
Yeah, that was always disturbing. It's always funny. It reminds me of like, the Morbius trailer came out today. This is going on another tangent. But
that one.
I don't know if you guys remember the 90s Spider-Man cartoon with Morbius. And he had like those little mouths on his hand to suck the plasma out of people because they couldn't let him suck blood. Yeah. That was scarier than him sucking the blood. And it kind of feels like DBZ kind of did the same things. Like, well, we don't want to make this too ridiculous, but in doing so, you made it even worse.
Right? Like, what the hell?
Sort of like with Joker, he doesn't kill in the Batman animated series, but he just make them go cuckoo puffs with laughing gas.
Right, which is worse.
Especially poor Tim Drake. We're not going to dive into that one today, but Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. That could scar you as a kid, man. That was dark. Crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of absorbing, all for One does have the power to steal other quirks. And it's a little hole in his hand, the same way that Morbius has the mouths in his hand. That's equally creepy. And the anime forgets to animate that every single time.
Prediction, One for All is going to be able to be spread around all of Class 1A.
Yeah, I can see that happening. But also prediction, the way that Deku beats All for Shigaraki is by giving him One for All, and it overloads the system.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because it seems like they would go together. Like putting them together would end it all.
That's how the saying goes anyway.
All for one and one for all.
Yep. But it's also going to be poetic if Deku ends the series quirkless.
But I don't think, although I don't think they want to have him quirkless, because I think Bones to Shonen Jump wants to have potential for spin-off. If knowing them, that
I'm
is.
nervous he might die.
Izuku?
Yeah.
Oof. I don't
like
know if my hero.
Nah, maybe that's a little too much. That's too much.
That's a lot. I feel like My Hero is too lighthearted of a series to go that far. Like even in its darkest moments, I don't think it's gonna go that far.
You know who's gonna
But I
die
do
with a
see him ending
smile though?
quirkless.
All Might.
Yeah, All Might I still can see die, and like I said in previous episode, I think Shigaraki is going to die.
Like maybe after the All for One, One for All thing, like All Might dies.
Yeah,
I
but
can see that happening. Unfortunately,
yes, let's face it. Also here, like I also said here last time, there's no way in hell they can save Shigaraki now. Let's face it.
I disagree.
I think Deku will.
The only
I
thing,
disagree
only
because. Go ahead, Isaac.
the only way they can save him is to help Shigaraki sacrificing himself, so to speak. I don't think they can save him anywhere.
I was with you there, but the reason I'm changing my tune on that is because of the last couple chapters. In his mind, there's a piece of Tenko Shimura still in there. He's not completely lost, which is honestly the biggest revelation, in my opinion, from all of this battle with Star&Stripes, is that there's All for One. It's not just All for One in Tomura Shigaraki. There's also Tenko Shimura, which means that there is a chance that Deku can save Tenko, which is something that is a revelation, honestly, because it's like he's Tomura Shigaraki, he's lost, but it's like, no, Tenko is still in there, and he's even still thinking about his dog Mon, which he referenced in this chapter. So I feel like Deku's going to end up saving Tenko Shimura and killing Tomura Shigaraki, if that makes sense.
I think that would be, honestly, that'd be an ideal ending, because if there's a way to get rid of One for All for good, but keep Tenko, like the actual, like him before all the killing, before all the, like that would honestly be such a, like, I don't want to say like bright, but like positive way, like wholesome way to end the series.
Yeah,
which is because
happening, to be honest.
That's fair. But like, think about it. All Deku wanted in the beginning of the series was for somebody to tell him he could become a hero. And All Might gave him that, right? And Tomura is the same way, where all he wanted was his parents to say he can become a hero. And then All for One steps in. It would be really poetic for Deku to be the All Might in this scenario and save Tenko Shimura. That would be a nice way to end Deku's character as well. He is now All Might, right? Inspiring those around him and saving the descendant of Nana Shimura, All Might's master. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense, and it's kind of poetic in a way. Will that happen? It might not. I mean, we just had Star&Stripes wielding a lightsaber. I don't know what's happening in this series anymore.
Hey, man. Like, what the hell?
But, you know, I can see it going that way. There's a path for them to take to get there. So I'm not ruling out saving Tenko Shimura just yet.
Complete sidebar again. I apologize. I'm a little sad that it feels like our boy Bakugo gonna get kind of sidebarred and all that, because at the end of Heroes Rising, he was like integral to helping Deku defeat, what's his name? Not One for All. Yeah, 9. Yeah. He was like, you know, it was like a friendship movie between those two. I hope that bond doesn't get dissipated in the result of that Shigaraki stuff.
It feels like it. Remember when Ito was important? You know, it feels like
that's man. For real. Okay, you know what? Bakugo has like confessed, so it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. That was his arc, right? Is that they are legitimately friends now. And I feel like they all will still be integral in the final battle. Like, it might be them fighting a bunch of Nomu or the rest of the Liberation Army. But I don't think it's going to be him side by side with Deku anymore. Because Deku is too powerful and he will get dusted.
Yeah, for real. Bakugo get rang out like a rag, but I mean, I don't know. What about you guys? Wouldn't you love to see like a MHA, just an OVA of like them a few years older? Just like a quick little glimpse. Cause come on, man. Like, God, imagine the class 1A at like 21 years old, like kicking ass. Like All Might was in Two Heroes.
I need that, and I need this epilogue episode in the anime. I don't know if the manga's gonna give it to us, but it's like give us the epilogue. Come on, do it. I need to see it. Then their college years, something. You can still call it My Hero Academia, but they're in college, and you can just have 2 OVAs or whatever covering that and be done with it.
I mean, Demon Slayer had a time skip, Naruto had a sort of like a time skip, Dragon Ball had a siege time skip when it ended. It's not that uncommon for a manga to end on a quote-unquote epilogue.
Bleach?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
As long as we don't end Boruto style.
Quirks came from aliens in outer space. And did you know there was like other dimensions that they come from? I'm like, dude, I'm done. No, please don't.
We are joking about that, but Star&Stripes quirk feels like that to me. It's like it feels like we're going so far out there that it's like, okay, aliens have to exist, right? If Star can just recreate reality, aliens exist in this world. I buy it 100%. Oh, geez. Guys, we still have another episode to record. We're doing My Hero Academia Vigilantes, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and check out that video as well. Was there anything else for chapter 331 we wanted to get out there before we end this? Isaac?
No, not really. I think
anything else, Leo?
Nope, I think that about wraps it up.
Okay.
I think this episode has struck along an extremely shining like a star. Oh, sorry, that was bad. But anyway.
Was that worse than anything else? Any other puns you've given us, honestly?
Yeah, it's been worse. It's been
Okay, guys, you can find the podcast at Amateur Otaku Pod. You can find me on Twitter at Novice Isaac at Emblemaniac, Leo at Leo_Rydel. Subscribe to Geekly Goods, Novice Cinephile, the Amateur Otaku. We got everything covered from movies, anime, TV, musicals on my channel. We cover it all. Was there anything else you guys wanted to cover or plug before we close this one out?
Cool. I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Catch you guys next week. Go beyond. Plus Ultra.